All right, team. So it took me a couple of boot camps and a few months to put together the entire research that I had to do to learn, relearn in the world of software test automation. And this last two boot camps was so very interesting, team. I've been so involved with it, and it's very exciting. And now I know and I understand better as to how we can learn and get better in our journey as software test engineers going towards AI. I thought initially this will take only a few minutes, maybe one or two, to give you an overview. But then it may take a little longer, 5-6 minutes. Let me see if I can wrap it up. But key important updates, team, what's happening. So number one, we're starting another bootcamp 3, and I'm gonna be doing this continuously every month, at least till end of this year, because there's a lot of content, a lot of new progress that we're doing, especially on the research project as well. So we want to be starting from the start, all the topics and whatever new we encounter via the research and whatever is coming to us, handed to us and saying, you know what, AI world today has got this new solution. This is the new product or a new buzzword in the market. Let's start working on it. So those pressures and all that should be a journey, team. It should not be something that, you know what, I learned it once, I've applied it, but I may test it every day. So let that be a progressive learning. That's where we'll get into. But at a high level, what are the 6 components that we need to do, team? Uh, Test automation fundamentals. While I assume to a large extent that I'm addressing software testing and QA professionals, but uh, there are instances where there are still people moving into this profession at the early stages or later. We've seen SDET, software development engineer and tests, and how they've moved and migrated. So that's one thing where you get your testing and automation fundamentals set correctly. Same with coding, team. Once you learn one programming, other programming should not be a challenge. And I've not, I mean, if you get into a coding interview and they ask you to code, you're doing it without the help of Google search or AI and so on. But when it comes to project research, your work itself, you have so many solutions now with GenAI and LLMs and chatbots helping you out with it. So that integrated learning, what took someone to take 2 months to learn a Java or a Python should not take more than 2 or 3 weeks now. That's my firm belief. So if someone beginning even in the first 2 levels, I believe the first weekend itself, we should be able to cover these very nicely. And while we do that, we'll apply a lot of concepts, team. I know AI 0 to advanced, I say, I don't know if there's anyone 0 left in AI in today's world. I have been one of the later join us. The reason being, I've been consistently working on research projects for the last 5-6 years, team, as an architect, as a designer, and how automation can behave, should behave, and so on. So I didn't want AI to adulterate my thoughts and inputs, and that's where Foxyiz grew as is independently. Luckily, I'll talk about it in a bit. So AI 0, I don't know, but the point is very simple. I have so many options. What do I use for my daily simple tasks to extremely advanced my project work where I'm being audited, tested, checked every time? So that is key, team. All of these concepts are very important unless you apply them. So applying, so we'll continuously apply them into automation, into automating certain tasks or tests. And that is what software QA automation is all about. So how do we learn AI concepts? How do we apply them? Learning them, applying them, using our automation fundamentals and um, coding fundamentals. That's more than sufficient. And I've always been telling as a career guidance to my students and members that, listen, do not try and overcomplicate yourself in life. Just get them into small buckets like this. It is very easy for you to handle them. The reason I say research project and QA job. So these go hand in hand again, team. Unless you are able to showcase them and imply or implement them in your job and career growth, it doesn't really make sense. I'm very confident that my profile in the next 1 to 2 months will have a beautiful shape. Why? Because while I'm teaching all of these concepts, that requires me to learn a lot more and then understand and then fine tune and say, you know what, this is how I learned, how I understood. This is how I would love you to understand. Once you get the concepts, team, you are able to build. So that is my journey. That should be your journey as well, because no one is going to be left without AI implementation of the concepts of AI. In fact, I should divide this saying that QA to automation to AI, because that is the journey. The 2008-9 I started training because manual testers were finding it very tough to survive when the job pressure came towards, you know what, learn QTP, learn Selenium, learn Playwright. So that becomes a challenge. How many tools should we learn consistently? Once we have the concept same, then we can explore a lot, team. So that's about what I want to talk about the boot camp. So join me 10th May, members only team. So that's something you can look at up IT Learn. We have a yearly and a lifetime. When I say monthly, I'm going to repeat the sessions monthly. So at least one boot camp every month, 2 weeks, 2 weekends rather. We're doing live projects in the weekdays, and some of those are coming up. So once you join in, you can also join the research project. Expanding from a word, what do I mean? Saying that, you know what, there's no consistent tech stack or a tool stack or the jargon stack that's coming out. So there's a lot more that can happen. Let's look at it one by one. All right, so QA to AI. I'm sorry, on IT Learn, little flashy and shady. I don't even get my enough time because I spend a lot of time on the research itself, team. So I need to sit down once and clean up the whole website as well. So we've done a lot of stuff. I started late last year on AI, ML, Python, and then making sure that we get the fundamentals. Then we went into the first boot camp. How is AI in testing, GenAI, coding, LLMs, a lot of things, Foxyiz. So there's a lot. While the topic list says little, there's a lot that we did, and that's why I had to recap the entire boot camp. In the second boot camp that I did a few weeks back, and then we went on with implementing new things like MCP using Cursor, a beautiful tool, paid now. You have a free limit, but that I could easily cross within a weekend. UI Playwright, Selenium, whatever we want, how we can do it, how do we organize. So a lot we did with it, and Foxyiz was the research project that we, in fact, this morning did a small MVP release for testing for our members team. In fact, as I release the project into GitHub, I'll share the link and everyone should be able to contribute. But that is something interesting that you should see, team. What did we do on it? At a high level, I'll walk through this little code. There's a little presentation. That's where I felt it'll take a little longer time. I'm still building this PowerPoint to get in deliverable stage. Just talking about, you know, what we want to do, what it does, capabilities, demo, and so on. These three, four black slides kind of show everything. So what is Fox system? It's a function. It's a math function at the end of it. It's a function of X and Y that gives me Z. My function is where my core engine is. It basically is all Python. It can be Java, C#, whatever you want, whatever language can be changed, but the approach should be the same. Capabilities is what X has, team. It basically says if I want to do something in UI like open, click, or something, or API get, or post, or delete, and database handlings, or AI calling an LLM, sending a prompt, getting a response, all of those are built as reusable components, and that's X, team. So you have a function where it recognizes what your automation capabilities are, and then what you provide are playbooks of tasks or tests, what you want to do, but clearly defined into three segments: plans, actions, and designs. So there are three CSVs in this. It can also be in Excel or whatever format the users want, but whatever we want to do are mentioned here. We don't need to look at any other format. And Z is my analytics. So I have my entire engine with automation capabilities executing my playbook. I would love to see what went right, wrong, to be able to debug, audit, log, report, auto heal, self heal, do so many other things. See, there's no limit to what we can achieve from there on, but this is a structure of a basic task and test automation. So to simplify it, and at an implementation level, this is how a folder structure would be when you put it on your system. Yes, you would have an environment with a few libraries. And for this, for example, right now, I use pip install, request, Selenium, WebDriver Manager, Pandas, a couple more things like that. But let's say you want to replace it with Excel, you could do it. You could replace it, your CSVs with Excel sheets. That's what I said. Or instead of Selenium with automation, you can do some other method, LLMs. So everything can be customized. This would be the folder structure at the end of it. There'll be a fengine.py or executable, and it would take a start.json. That JSON basically says, what are the plans, actions, and designs that I need to execute that specific task. So there could be set of tasks in my plans. All of these are individually broken down into actions, which basically relate back to my capabilities. So that capabilities tell me what actions I can execute, and my results would come in. So you would have at the minimalistic these as your folder structure. As you grow to add more test automation or task automation, you would not change too much of your engine or your actions if they are already reusable and working, but you can do a little customization, add new capabilities to it. But a lot of your edits happen on the CSVs. So what happens is you just need a CSV editor. Now here's the interesting concept, team with the AI. Sorry if I took a little long gap or little long explanation to talk about it. So at any point, you need to prepare what you need to do. And that's what you could do with two of this inbuilt, and I'm continuously adding some capabilities here, team, where I can prepare what to do. That's in my why. And I would run it and get my results as to what happened. So what are the other things that I could do with AI in place? Earlier, humanly, I had to build my generate. So I had to use humanly to build YPads using Excel and CSVs. Now I can use GenAI and say, you know what, go build this for me. For example, here's my code. Wow, long, right? Video. And my system is about to crash on me. All right. So see, I was saying XYZ. So here's one folder. It just requires some additional libraries, but otherwise, this is it. I have a few start.json. They look like what I want to run. Here's my plan, action, and so on. My YPads that I was talking about, they contain my tasks. So like for source demo, a few tests that we wrote. For HeroQ, we wrote few tests. And then I said, you know what, can we add more tests? I asked Copilot within GitHub, can you add more tests? And look at how simple I wanted to keep it. Can you create more plans and actions for the above UI apps and generate new whitepads? And I gave these three working documents and said, based on my plans, actions, and designs, where I have the URL, element identifications, all of these present in it, and my actions, where I'm saying what I want to do at each step level and how I combine them into plan. So these pads have all the information, team. So all I pass in my start.json are saying, you know what do they point to? And it's very easily could do the same, and it could add a few more plans and data definitions and actions to it. So, and the same thing, even Grok could do it. I've been using Grok for very long now, since it almost started, referred by a friend, word of mouth grows long. And it's so easy for it to say that, you know what, I understand what you're saying, and it generates new designs. And I asked it, why did you only give me one design? It said most of its steps are the same, elements are same, so there's no repetitive data for this. You don't need more designs. I said, yes, that's correct. For once, it proved me right as well. How do we add, remove all of these tests so that we want to do as planned? And for each plan that you see here, we have actions team. So there's little more additional things. Get these details, you'll get understand everything about the code, the logic, and how we built it. It's not a very complicated code. It just goes through, prepares the CSVs, and executes it. And your X actions are very simple. Uh, how do we extract LLM response or connect to an LLM, chat with it? And that we've divided them into a few types like UI, math, simple math, API, and so on. So when we execute it, we are also able to get some good Foxyiz reports team generated, which says what I executed, how many plans, summary, a simple dashboard to begin with that helps me debug. And I know where my issue is. For example, all my UI actions are going well, but browser closes is consistently failing. And that's a great simple prompt that I can give. Or I can ask my LLM to just take this whole input report and say what has gone right or wrong. And it's very easy to run these at a command line or through the program or as an executable. So that is where we have kept the Foxyiz project. So team, what I did is even on in the QAtoAI, once you go to itlearn.com, and you have all these topics, at the end I have this project and I kept it on preview mode. That means even if you're not a member, you should be able to watch. So great team. So that's where a lot of the focus is going. We are building, we're learning, we're experimenting, but I believe we have done a lot. And in terms of understanding what tools are there, what we can use in those capabilities. So whenever you get a chance, go to itlearn.com, register. I'll put up a link for it and share with you all. Thank you. See you back in the weekend boot camps. Bye now.